Welcome back to the Lockroad Chronicles. My name is Larissa, and today we are going over my September reading wrap-up. Internally, I thought I did not do a very good job reading this month. I just felt so busy, and I still read 6 books, so that's a win. I don't know why I felt like I read 3. The beginning of September feels so different to the last half of September, but, oh, okay. Pumpkin spice chai tea latte. Well, let's get into the 6 books that I read. To start off the month, I decided to do a reread of my favorite book, and that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. My other favorite book is also The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Happy Place by Emily Henry is my favorite romance. She's my favorite author, and I really wanted to get this read before the summer season ended, and I did, and it was amazing, and I just want to go to Maine and hang out with this friend group and just be a part of their friend group and just, it's so great. In case you don't know what this is about, Harriet and Wynne are our main couple. However, they broke off their engagement, but they haven't told their friends yet, and every year they take a trip up to Maine for the Lobster Fest because one of their friends, their parents, has a house there. They take their vacation there, and it's a group of 6 of them, and they're friends since college. It's a very much a found family aspect with it. Wynne wasn't supposed to go, our main guy. He was not supposed to go this year. Harriet was going to break the news to them that they had broken off their engagement. And they were really nervous because they felt like this was going to destroy their friend group. But when Harriet shows up, there's Wynne, and he's still pretending like they're engaged. They are still expected to be engaged. They're playing along, so it's a fake engagement, second chance romance. Yes, there's a lot of miscommunication in this book, but that's also like the main point of it. And it's just the aesthetic, the vibe is beautiful. The friend group makes it. It is not just about the main couple. It is about the friendships and how important that is for growing up, as well as like what happens when your friend group disperses all over the country, how that evolves along with the other stages that you're in life compared to your friends. The way Emily writes this book is just taken out of my brain. It is so beautifully done. I highly recommend it. When I first read it, I tabbed through, and it was really fun to just like go and see my previous tabs and highlights, and I highlighted other things too. Really love this book, and it goes right here, so we'll put her back. That will probably be like a very consistent reread for me. Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood. Funny, goofy, silly. I did a reading vlog on this if you want to check that out. Delphi dies. She is died dead. She is sent up to a waiting room in the afterlife, and she's just hanging out there until she gets assigned a quirky afterlife therapist. This therapist is bonkers. She is nuts, but it's so endearing and so cute. And she's helping Delphi to adapt, to come to terms with the fact that she's dead, and it's supposed to help make that transition a little bit easier. Delphi runs out of the little therapist office, smack dab into this gorgeous man, and they have an instant connection, like soulmate connection. Delphi's therapist is like, oh, I think you guys are soulmates. Too bad you're dead. And he wasn't supposed to be there. He gets sent back down to Earth, and Delphi's like, bring me back. That's my soulmate. And she's having a lot of life regrets and just about how her life has played out so far. Delphi ends up making a deal, and she gets to go back to Earth, the land of the living, to be alive. And she needs this man to kiss her within 10 days, and it has to be of his own accord. And if she gets him to do that, she can stay alive. If not, she gets zonked up back to the afterlife. It's very much kind of like a scavenger hunt, a found family. The found family in this one is so great. The importance of human connection, as well as working through past trauma. There was some bullying that Delphi went through as a child that affected her entire life and how she perceived people, and it's very like grumpy as well. It was very cheeky, very cute. It was just silly. I giggled a lot of it. Very unserious. This cover is so gorgeous. You guys, I actually took notes to talk about these books so I wouldn't forget. I'm so proud of myself. You should be proud of me too. Thank you so much. I finally did it, you guys. I finally did it. I read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. This has been on my TBR for a long time. This was so fun. I'm so mad at myself that I did not read this sooner. It was a great time to read it at the end of summer. Like, summertime would be a good time to read this if you are more of a vibe mood reader, but It was so much fun. It's dual POV. Josh and Hazel met in college, and Hazel is this like very out there character. She is silly, she is so unserious, and just has a lot of fun, but she gets in some crazy situations. And Josh was the smarty pants kind of older guy that she had always looked up to, had a crush on. Hazel has always been described as like too much to people, and she just doesn't care about that. She knows her worth, and she knows that if a guy can't handle her, that's his own issue. She is wholeheartedly herself, and this is definitely for the girlies who feel like they are too much. Josh and Hazel decide they just want to be friends. They have decided to find each other dates, go out on these double dates with each other. Every time they go on these double dates, they end up acting like they're the ones on the date with each other. The ending could put off some people, but I kind of like how the ending was handled in the events that led up, the thoughts and intentions behind prior to something. Very vague. I have one more from their backlist that is on my shelf. The next book that I read was a novel love story by Ashley Poston. The vibes are so immaculate. I love the plot of the book and the idea behind it. It's so fun. Magical realism. Eileen goes on a book retreat with her virtual book club every year. This year, however, nobody is able to go due to just conflicting circumstances. Eileen really needs this trip, so she decides to go. She makes the drive. It's a very long drive. I would definitely fly, but she decides to drive there. On this drive, it starts to storm horribly. She finds this little town in the middle of nowhere and almost hits somebody, and then when she parks her car, her truck kapoots. Turns out she is in the town of her favorite romance series. And the characters are there. You can kind of see what happens after the happily ever after. It's so cool that she is in the town of her favorite romance series. Like, that would just be a book girlie's dream. That would be so much fun. Unless like it was high fantasy or like dark romance, then maybe not so fun. But this one, super fun, super cutesy. So she gets to meet her favorite characters in this town and see how they interact, see everything and what they're going through. And it kind of shows like even after the happily ever after in books, there still needs to be work on the relationship. Things still need to be figured out. And I think that was a really important play into this. However, she can't place one of the characters, and it is the grumpy bookstore owner, and that she just keeps running into time and time again. Eileen is also going through this transition period with her friends and just feeling stagnant as everybody around her just keeps moving forward. This is for the girlies that just feel stuck in life. And I get those feelings a lot. We're working through it though. Magical realism, whimsical, charming, funny. Alright, the next book that I read was The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. What a ride that was. Oh my goodness. So Rin is an adopted small town shop girly who has been taken advantage of by her family, and they are wanting to marry her off to this really old guy when she comes of age, 16. She's like, no, that is totally fine with me. I am going to study for this super hard exam. I'm going to be the best, and I'm going to get a free ride to the top university military school. There's a lot of prejudice against her. She just has to prove herself time and time again. Also, like, there's a lot of classism in this as well. She's at this school learning different battle strategies, and she's trying to adapt to the social climate, but she's just not fitting in. She does have a couple friends, which is nice and helpful, but this is based on true events that happened between the Chinese and Japanese war. And I forget, was it in World War II? It's horrific, you guys. Anyway, there's this quirky professor there, and nobody takes him seriously. He takes her under his wing. They start to train, which I really like, that kind of hard work, grit montage. And she's got a lot of grit. She's very resilient in the beginning of this. Anyway, war breaks out, and everything that she has learned about war is coming into play and is in real life situations. There were no trigger warnings at the beginning of this book, at least in the version that I have. I think the newer versions might have it. There are so many trigger warnings, you guys. I was so queasy at a lot of points reading this because the talk of war and the battle, the massacres that occur, they go into it. It is, again, this is based off of, oh my goodness, this was very intense. There's genocide in this. There is war crimes and rape and all of this stuff that is going on. I thought this book was going to be completely different than what I thought. I thought we were going to be chilling at this battle school for a while. A book club that I'm in This was the pick of the month, and I really thought it was going to be so different. It was very like split of people liking it and disliking it. We had a lot of good conversations about it. This was brought up in the discussion. I feel like the massacre and the descriptions and stuff were put in there as like a shock value, and the shock value worked. I don't feel like it was necessary to be that graphic, but at the same time it really helps you visualize and empathize with what was actually going on. However, I thought the book was going to be completely different. I almost had to stop the book. This is a lot of people's favorite fantasy series. I won't be continuing. I'm so sorry if it is. This was not a book for me. It is way too graphic. I was just disturbed. It was well written, but like, again, this was not the book for me. All right, continuing on. After that, I needed a very cozy read, and that is Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I did do a reading-ish, I say reading-ish vlog on this one because I just kind of vlogged and read this book, kind of. I didn't discuss it as much as I wanted to. If you want an episode of Gilmore Girls in book form, Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore is your cup of coffee. It was cozy, it was cute, not much happened in it, and it was completely fine. Like, I really enjoyed it. The atmosphere of this book plays heavily into it. It is so just cute and fun. Jeannie leaves her corporate assistant life in the city to come to this very small town to take over her aunt's cafe. Jeannie is trying to adapt to this small town, fit in, and she wants to start a life here. She was so caught up in her job back in the city that she just feels like she didn't prioritize anything else. She's learning the ins and outs of the cafe, and of course there is a sexy grumpy farmer named Logan, and everybody in town loves him, but he's also just like so grumpy. This town is so quirky, it is goofy. They have a fall festival that there's a costume contest that they just get way into. It's just such a perfect fall romance. There is like a little bit of a mystery element with somebody trying to sabotage Jeannie. So low stakes, very low stakes. Just a cute little romance. I did like the communication aspect of our two leads. There could have been a little bit better, but like I thought they did a very good job communicating with one another. Logan is such a cutie romantic, and it's adorable. Jeannie is just like this very talkative, girly, like think Lorelai and Luke. Like that is their dynamic. It's so fun. So if you're just looking for something just to ease into the season, literally just vibes. Just vibes. This is the book for you. Those are the books that I read this month. Right there. And then plus the Poppy War, which I read on my Kindle. If you want to stick around and see what I get up to in the month of October, check out the October TBR, and then subscribe so you don't miss any of the future reading vlogs for the month, as well as like this video. And with that being said, respect others, respect yourself, and do something amazing with your day. Thanks, bye!